yourself because you don't pay yourself. Now you are swiping this business card everywhere, even at Konga. And they get shocked. They're like, what? Some clients don't know that accounting means we go through each transaction one by one. Some doctor was like, what? Do you do that? And then I'm like, yes. So what do you do at Da Vinci every lunchtime? And it's like, I eat lunch there. And I'm like...
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits, and thank you for those likes, for those views, for those subscribes. Thank you. We're actually celebrating some kind of milestone. By the time you're watching this, we are well on track to 5,000 subscribers. So we are incredibly grateful. I think we got to 1,000 subscribers 2 months ago. And it's been fast growth to 5,000 since then. And we can only be grateful. So we're coming back to talk business and entrepreneurship. We want to be that channel that when you watch, you know there's always something to learn. There's always a takeaway. If you're an entrepreneur, there's a takeaway for you. If you are into side hustles, there's a takeaway for you. If you dream of entrepreneurship, we are those people. We are your people. We want to be that home that teaches you entrepreneurship. And today, I want to shift to a very big blind spot for entrepreneurs, and that is accounting, and that is finances. A lot of small business owners don't have their house in order. So I called my sister and friend who is legit a proper accountant. You seem to be doubting me.
Legit, I like it.
Yeah, she is. She's proper. Now, to give you a bit of context, she's overseeing books for corporate, so she's not afraid of big numbers. And she's one of those accountants where if I have a client that's doing really, really well and has got high turnovers, and they ask me for an accountant, I send them this direction. Welcome to the podcast, too.
Hi, Ntondo and the community. Happy to be here.
You don't seem to believe me when I'm saying you're legit.
I am. Don't I look legit? I sound legit.
You are one of the few accountants who tells me before I refer a client that don't send me people who want to cook. I don't cook books.
Yes.
Ian, where does that come from?
I'm not a cooker. I'm an accountant. So it's like a wrong question that businesses always ask. I don't even know how to put it. They always remember things like SARS, right? They use a system. They upgrade it all the time. It's like you can run, but you cannot hide from these things. So eventually they catch up with you. So me cooking for you, it's at your cost. It doesn't help me. But it gets even better because it's at your cost. But have you not heard of an accountant was arrested as well? Because once...
Does that happen though?
Yes, a lot.
Don't accountants have a disclaimer that says these books are prepared with information we got from you?
There are things that they can establish that there was a lot of cooking, right? And then once they establish the cooking, they can separate from the cooker and, and the client. So the client will get their part. And when I, as the cooking accountant, you will also get your part. I actually had a client in 2020. And they wanted me to do something like that. And I didn't do it. And I left them. Then I read about it. It was 9 months later. Their accountant was arrested in Cape Town.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I don't cook.
You love your family.
Yes, because now it doesn't cost you only as a client. It costs me my kids' bread and butter. So no.
All right. So the story of Tebogo is so good. We're gonna do 2 episodes. I'm telling you in advance. This episode, we focused on the money. We focused on entrepreneurship and the mistakes that entrepreneurs make. We want to get into your situation when it comes to your finances, find out some of your mistakes and conversations you should be having with your accountant. But her story doesn't begin there. Her story starts from high school. And do you want to tell it a bit? 2 minutes.
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, I always tell my story because, when you talk to business owners or to women, they think that you wake up tomorrow and you become this corporate executive. Yes, I'm an executive, but I have walked my path and it was a roller coaster. So everything happened from a teenage pregnancy to early marriages and early divorces and so much of makeover and finding myself and fighting and getting back and fighting on to be where I am. So there is a story behind the machine.
So in the second episode, which is the one coming after this one, we'll get to the story behind the machine. You heard the summary, so I won't get too deep into it. When it comes to accounting, how did your career start there? What's your background, briefly?
My background is I'm the jack of commerce. I started with accounting. In high school, when they would ask us, what do you want to be, after this, I read about audit on a newspaper and I was like, okay, this sounds fancy. So I was like, I'm going to be an auditor, but I had no idea what it was. So yeah, when I went to university with an accounting A, I started with accounting and I became so popular. I was teaching my classmates and I was just like a
Oh,
deputy
you're those
lecturer.
smart kids.
Yes, I'm naturally smart. When people go to study, I will sleep. And then when they wake up, I practice with them. Because, the more you teach accounting and maths, is the more you master
They are
it.
studying, you are sleeping, you
Yes.
wake up and you teach them.
Yes,
How
I'm
does
just
that
like,
work?
we do tutorial. Let's solve one problem. Let's balance one thing. Then it's just me revising, literally. The more accounting and maths is the same. The more you practice,
I know it from the math side. Because
the
the more you practice,
the more
the better you get
the
at
problems you solve, the better you get at it. I mastered accounting like that by teaching other students,
it. Oh,
my
okay.
peers and above sometimes.
Was the path to corporate easy though?
No, it wasn't.
From varsity?
From varsity, I switched whilst I was still at varsity from accounting because it got boring. There was nothing interesting about accounting. That's how much I knew it. And for the students, if you understand accounting from grade 10, it's exactly the same thing from grade 10 to varsity last level. Like, honestly, only advanced
Just
corporate accounting in the
distinctions and
last,
stuff.
a few things. But then I changed from accounting because I had too many people to teach and it was a burden. I changed from accounting to auditing and then I started working as an audit intern and then I realized that it's a routine again. And then when I was doing my internship, I decided I don't want to do audit only. I want to switch. Then I got certified as a fraud examiner. So I'm an investigator.
Now I get it. I think if you've done enough fraud investigation, you don't want to be on the other side. That's why you absolutely don't cook books.
So, yeah, so that's the thing. But it's fortunate for my clients because I
They
am
know
in
they're
a
safe.
space that I'm an accountant, I'm an auditor, and I'm an investigator. So you're sort of like under an umbrella. Yes. So
that's your value proposition. Peace of mind, because I'm an accountant,
we've got
examiner.
you covered. It's not even.
You mentioned 3 things: accountant, examiner, and
An
auditor.
auditor. Yeah, all in one. But where I work, I'm a chief audit executive.
So, Mina, what sold me to you, besides us engaging in financial conversations and me knowing you really know your stuff, was that those values that you don't cook books and you know you can run but you can't hide. So, whenever I have clients that I feel this one is protecting and the revenue is too high for them to be doing what they're doing, I send them to you.
I know and appreciate it. It's just it's too much work because they are entangled, and then you have to untangle everything. But we love doing that, and you remember this is what our clients love about us, because we're not there to do things for you that you don't know. We do things for you in making you aware as the owner, making you understand the highs and lows, the impact and the whys. So you do it with understanding. That is what we are lacking in the business ecosystem.
Okay. All right. So let's go over a couple of clients in general.
Yeah.
When you've had a small business referred to you or a new business coming in, what are some of the obvious mistakes that you find small business owners making?
This one is not even small business. It's small business, medium, and corporate. Everybody starts dodgy.
Yeah.
And then when you're here, you are trapped, because then they will ask you for 5 years financial statements. And then you've been submitting zeros for the previous 4 years.
And understating your revenues and stuff.
And it works at your disadvantage, because now you want to buy property. Now you want to do serious business. And those little things that you have been cutting corners, they catch up with you.
So that's the first thing you find people doing.
A lot. Most small businesses, medium enterprises, and big corporate, they just go submit zero to SARS. Zero means no income, no expenses. I was dormant. Recently, I found a client. She made 6 million in 2023, but they submitted zero for her. Someone.
Who's to blame there? Because what you're actually saying is two sides of this coin. It means there's a dodgy accountant that says, I'll save you 100,000 on tax. You're just going to pay 2,000.
But there's a business owner who doesn't know. Perish because of lack of knowledge. So you are here as a VAT vendor, meaning you're operating above 1 million. But you're submitting dormant income tax. But you are submitting VAT returns monthly. What is that? Maybe you understand it. Let me put it into perspective. This client had an accountant who was submitting VAT returns monthly. By virtue of being a VAT vendor, as a company, you are registered with VAT. It means that you're operating above 1 million. But you look at their income tax submissions, zero, dormant company. Like, what kind of an accountant was that?
But how do people in general that are ignorant of the numbers, because they don't know finance like you would have studied finance, how do I know between a good accountant and a bad accountant? Because clearly they got to work with someone who's dodgy.
People get comfort from not being bothered by finance, and it's wrong. I'm not saying go and study accounting, but know what your accountant is doing for you. So ideally, I'm doing something every month, and a lot of them, I'm going to tell you horror stories. A lot of them don't, 99%, you can't blame the client. They don't know what the accountant is doing. So there's this guy that you are paying them every month and they are doing something. Why you as a client, why am I not telling you you have made 2 million this month and you have received 250 as VAT that you need to pay out from your invoices? Now, let's look at what were the things that you have paid. So you seem to have spent 1 million of it. And then not all of these expenses have VAT. So now you have a 50,000 sitting there. Now you need to pay 200 because 250 minus 50 is 200. It's as simple as that. VAT is plain. It's what you get and what you pay. It's that simple, but it's not ignorance. It's not knowing. When you have made 2 million and then I don't know, my clients received their VAT calculations from myself every month. We send it to you on the system. You need to approve it to say, yes, makes sense, right? You approve it because it's yours, it's not mine. And I submit and I load it for you to pay. You cannot be making 2 million and you are paying
3,000 rand.
3,000. How much are you spending? That means that...
Especially if you're in services.
Exactly.
That's one thing I realized personally as well. When we got VAT registered, I was not prepared for it. I realized we teach some of these things, but you are not ready for the amounts when they start coming, because you are used to invoicing maybe per job as clients are coming 30,000 there, 20,000 there, and you are getting all of it, right? And when there's VAT, now not all of it is yours.
It's your money. It's the government's
That
money.
switch when you register. Do you think there are small businesses that shouldn't be going to register for VAT because administratively they are not organized enough? Or maybe in terms of numbers, they are not aware what it means?
You know what? Someone just stand up, received a request for VAT number from their contractor. They stand up, go to the branch, they register for VAT, and happy they have a certificate. Some of them don't even know that they need to now submit monthly returns. So they don't know the implication. They don't know what does that mean to them. There's a client of mine who told me that she is buying property, and then the conveyancer said to her, go and ask your accountant, you need to register for VAT. And I said, let me explain to you what
this means.
So I said, okay, so this property is 3.3 million. It's about 500 VAT. Do you understand that there is 500 VAT that you are going to receive as they buy this property from you? Now, do you understand that you have to pay that to SARS? And worse, if your expenses are 350, we have. So you just need understanding, and the best.
Also,
way,
someone would have convinced you to transact with me, go and register for VAT, and you only think of just that transaction and not remember that once you are registered, every other deal that you are going to do,
everything that you do,
15% has to come out.
And now you have been taking invoices from small businesses that don't have VAT. Now you are not paying VAT anyway, but you are receiving so much money that has got VAT. So that becomes the only way, the best way, maybe. The best way is, I always say, open a VAT control account. When you receive money, multiply by 15%, make peace with the fact that 15% is not yours
Anymore.
at all. It was never yours. You are an agent. You are collecting it on behalf of SARS, and you need to pass it over. So if you do
So how
that,
does this VAT control account work for someone who doesn't know? It's a separate savings pocket, basically.
Like a dash account. So you receive money, you put that the 15% aside straight away. And then once you do that, you will be lucky if you don't pay all of it to SARS, because then you would have paid a little bit of VAT. But then that is the only way. Now there are these people in construction who are subcontracting and
What's the story there? I'm
can I
curious
go
now.
deeper?
Please, go deeper.
Look, so Ntando has a legit business that can tender with ESCOM, right? So Ntando submits and then get the job. But the job is done by Khubane Consulting. Now, Ntando has got VAT, because those are some of the requirements.
For the tender, for winning it,
Now, 2 million is deposited, and then I give you 200,000, and I take my 1.8 and I go and service the tender. How are you going to pay that?
So that's what it. Who is at a disadvantage there? The one who won the tender.
The business owner. Yes,
Because the one
now,
doing the job doesn't really have to. Their revenue is a bit low.
So this guy, I told him, so where's the money? He's like, no, the money is gone. What do you mean? No, this is not our contract. We were just submitting on behalf of someone. So they just give us 200, to spend for bank charges. I'm like, so who's going to pay income tax?
I thought you meant 200 was going to the one doing the job, not the other way around. That is stupid.
Income tax.
Sorry to say.
So who's going to pay 28% income tax? Who's going to pay the 15%?
Also, the case here is people that allow other people to front on them.
Yes. And then, Wes, you don't have expenses because you're not trading. So that one is buying materials there. You don't get that.
They are covered.
Because in your account, there is 1.8 going out and 2 million coming in. No transactions. You are just going to spend that 200,000. No expenses to decrease your VAT. You have this VAT that you need to pay. And then this guy never understand, why am I going through so much? He's got his little tenders, but the big goes to the next guy. So I'm just like, when you are an entity that is incurring taxes on behalf of the world, and you need to stop it. So I told him, you want to proceed with this thing, when you receive the money, calculate VAT first and tell them, VAT money, out VAT. Calculate 28% and take the income tax money. You have no idea what people are taking for rights. And you don't know. You're just thinking you are in business. You are a hustler.
So you're bringing one big... Because I know it happens a lot. Where
a lot.
A big company just decides to spread their money to avoid tax and says, I will put 2 million in your account. You get this amount of money from it. You do nothing. 2 million, you get your 200, 300,000, and the small business owner just thinks, this is free money.
And then also there's the money laundering part.
This is the investigator in you.
No. There's the money laundering part. Okay. There was this lady, she's in like a medical space, right? She practiced in South Africa. And then she would have 3 million from her normal day-to-day practice. But she had 9 million from abroad. And I'm just like, what is this money? And she's like, I do consultation abroad. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, but you are in South Africa 300 days. Maybe you went abroad for 55 days. But you have made 90% of the revenue abroad. How? And then she changed the story. No, we are building a hospital, so my associates are sending me money. Show me the hospital because we have to declare the asset. There's no hospital.
Even I'm lost.
So the money was passing through her account.
Oh.
So, there's this withdrawals, like huge amount of, and I don't know how the banks are allowing these things. Huge amount of withdrawals, like in Santen malls and then...
Like what? Going in and taking 300,000 cash?
No, like 20,000 withdrawal, 50,000 withdrawal. And then there's cash send. So I'm like, okay, please give me a list of your employees again. And then I'm like, okay, who is Ntando? And then she's like, Ntando is, a friend. And I'm like, okay, I have calculated the amount of money that have been paid to Ntando for these 12 months that we're working on. And that is like 900,000, and this is not an employee. So what are you doing with this? Oh no, the part of the money that was coming from abroad was his. So he bought a house for 900,000, and he just gave me 30,000 for it.
Oh, I have so many questions on that one. All right. So first off, is there a problem with the cash withdrawals if there are too many? Or what's the problem with them if there are many in an
How
account?
do we account for it?
Also, the accountant is in trouble in terms of allocating where the money was going.
Yes, how do you account for cash withdrawals? You know, you will see even when you withdraw money from your business account, it charges you more. The business account is not meant for withdrawal. What
Oh.
are you withdrawing money for?
That I didn't know.
Yeah, it's not meant for withdrawal.
The
because-
cash charge is higher.
Yeah, it's higher when you withdraw. So let's say you have got, I don't know what kind of cash transactions a business would have to do, but then that then means you need to keep receipts because then that is not appearing on your bank statement. That is off book. And you know, when a business does 90% off books and 10% on book, it is a problem. So I mean, I don't know if I'm just fortunate to be an auditor and an investigator, because then you can just see that something is not making sense.
Someone once said your bank knows a lot more about your behavior than you. All they have to do is just look at your bank statement. They are going to tell a whole lot about you in general. And I'm listening to you talk about cash withdrawals, and I think that's one of the things that you pick.
First thing, so as an accountant, I go through trends, right? Like, remember the ratios, your cash ratios.
Accounting ratios, yeah.
The normal business ratios. But you can actually create any ratio. Like from the total revenue received into the client's account versus the total withdrawn. And you'll be shocked that people withdraw 90% and the business trade with that 10%. That's where you pick up these funny things. So those ratios are not in the accounting books, but we know them. We work with them.
So, okay, interesting. Also, it's a bad habit to be withdrawing cash from your business.
Lots of cash.
It's cool, and I think you mentioned this earlier as well, that when you are small, there's a lot of habits that you pick up that are hard to get rid of as your business is growing, and then you find yourself in trouble because you're running your bigger business with habits you picked up when you were small, when SARS was not looking for you.
Yeah.
And you could get away with a lot of stuff because your money was just little. But now you're bigger and those habits are entrenched in you.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you another story, but let me tell you this part. So also, small businesses makes mistakes of not paying themselves. What does that mean? It means 1 month bank statement is 13 pages because it's like Burger King, King Pie, McDonald's. So now we try to put it under business.
When you said not paying yourself, my mind was going somewhere, and it was somewhere a good place, because a lot of business owners that are small are not paying themselves because the business is struggling. I didn't realize you meant
No.
they just swipe.
And that affects your credibility, and I'll tell you how. So you don't pay yourself, but you still eat the money. So you might as well just pay yourself, because you don't pay yourself. Now you are swiping this business card everywhere, even at Gonga. You know, I had this client with funny trends, like every lunchtime.
Only people would know what Konka is, who would know where you were going with this.
You know,
a club.
And you try to put it under client's entertainment, to say maybe you took a client to Konga to persuade them to come and do recording. But then it is every Friday there's Konga transactions.
You've seen that in business statements.
I'm telling you, you can read like a behavior with just a bank statement. There was a client of mine that worked in somewhere in Sandton, and every now and then around lunchtime, he would swipe in Da Vinci Hotel. I'm like, so this guy just works, and then in the middle of the day, he feels like he wanna lie down and go lie down. And you know, this
The
trends.
brother needs an air pillar for productivity.
Yeah, and we pick
or-
up those trends, and then now I ask my clients, and I'm like, so what are you doing? And they get shocked. They're like, what? Some clients don't know that accounting means we go through each transaction one by one. Some doctor was like, what?
That's
Do you
there.
do that? And then I'm like, yes. So what do you do at Da Vinci every lunchtime? And it's like, I eat lunch there, and I'm like, is it? So how much is your
Some
lunch?
expensive lunch.
No. There's a lot of mistakes that business owners do. There's this particular business owner that comes from DRC, right? It's like qualified doctor, and he's legit. But everybody who wants to send money to DRC, they use him.
Ooh. Or because he's got an account that's legit and can transact large sums and stuff.
So now, remember, you are receiving these monies. This is part of your income. How do we account for it under the business?
What do you do in a case like that? Because some of the guys in that situation don't want to change.
I spent most of my consulting time, my work time, teaching clients and, like counseling. It's like counseling because also you can't dismiss things, Some of the things you need to teach them, make them understand, and then create a new way of them still doing things, but in a legit, proper business way. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about assets. Is it advantageous to buy assets under the business? Like to buy a car under the business and to buy a house under the business? Because there are people that mix those two, and I'm curious if you've seen that in a statement. Where does the conversation go?
So it's advantageous depending on where you're going, what is your plan. And that is why I spend time understanding what my clients wishes to achieve, accomplish, and where is the direction of the business. So remember, a business is a legal entity.
Yeah.
If you put everything there, cars and houses, when the business is in trouble, it's all gone with the business. But also, you can't take $1 million and buy a business property and then you pay your personal rent with the business account, because I'm just like, we already have recorded that you have bought property. So what are these rentals? It's small things that matters. And then she's like, no, it's my personal rent. And I'm like, let's take your salary and increase it by this 20,000 rent, and then it will just hike up your pay as you earn a little bit, but at least is in the right place, so you can pay yourself a bit more so that the rent comes from your personal account.
So you're saying whether or not there's an advantage just depends on what the goal was.
The goal is.
But ultimately you need to be aware of the risk when you put everything in the business.
For example, you can buy the car using the business, and then you're paying the car under the business. It helps you with the VAT relief, but that car belongs to the business. If anything hit the business, it's gone.
Okay. But I like that you say there are advantages.
Yes, and you need to know both sides.
The reason why I'm asking as well is also there is that element of people submitting assets to SARS and depreciation on assets that they own that are not under the business. Like there's motor vehicles in the balance sheet, but the car is owned by you, not the business.
And it's being depreciated.
And it's being depreciated, which means your tax is getting reduced, which is a nice advantage to have, except the car is not owned by the business. When you come in or when SARS come in, that I'm assuming that becomes a very nice problem to deal with.
It even gets better, because once they identify it in one of the years, then they take you back to all of the years.
Is that standard protocol that when they find one mistake, they go back?
Yes.
How far back?
So how they what they normally say is they have a right to go back as far as 10 years, and they can even go beyond 10 years when they have a reason to believe that you have defrauded SARS or you've been overstating or understating something to deceive SARS. So they can go as far back as they want.
If I go and say, but I didn't know that my accountant was putting these things, I just wanted financial statements for compliance. I needed a tender. I'm not safe.
It is taken through investigation, and then they will establish the probabilities, and they will prove beyond doubt that you have been part and parcel of the cooking. You as an accountant and you as a client. So that's
what you're saying is accountants are not safe anymore. That disclaimer they put on the first page is not protecting them anymore.
To an extent, how do I say you are dormant, and how do I submit your monthly VAT? That is contradicting my standards as an accountant. So it means that I knew that there was something wrong that you are doing, and I was okay with it. That's why there's this NOTLA where you need to report any of this kind of behaviors.
You report as an accountant?
Yes,
or you report
as an accountant, that client so-and-so. And I had that incident.
So if you find a client whose books were being cooked for years and then you come in, you are reporting or you are fixing?
You're reporting before you fix.
Okay.
I had that case, is it 2020? And my client right now, he's a free man. He's very happy. But he started as a small business and he became a big corporate, and he's turning over more than 10 million now. But then where it started, he comes to me and he's like, I want to do an audit, right? Like audited financial statement for big business now he wants to submit. My friend, when we audited, understated pay as you earn by 600 per month, 600,000, I mean. So pay as you earn was only calculated on the salary, but his employee were receiving salaries, bonus, incentive, commissions, and all of that was excluded from pay as you earn. So, yeah. And by then, remember, he was...
Do you remember how many employees there were?
Yeah, he had about 10. And he's a good guy, because he said to me, you know what, I can't now ask them to give me their money, but I need you to come and do a presentation for them to understand how it is going to be calculated going forward. And they were very unhappy, but now they know. I mean, we showed them the letters and the reporting that, now this guy was reporting to CPIC every month to say, this is my progress, this is what I've done so far, and resubmitting everything at VETS is not at SARS, and it's not nice, because you have to pay us as well to just
go
laundry out everything. Yeah. But yeah.
Also, if you go and confess to the taxman alone, you are safe a bit.
Yeah.
And say, guys, I'm sorry. I just discovered there's been shady things with my
better
books.
That. But than when they find you. They're not nice when they even find you. They, when you resubmit, they might not even ask you, like, why, come and explain. You just resubmit and pay them more. They're happy to collect revenue. But if they come to find you, I always say compliance is very cheap. Non-compliance is extremely expensive. You can't afford it. So you might as well just go with compliance, because you can pay little and you can work it out with your accountant. But non-compliance, on the other hand, is out of control. There, it's like we are telling you, everyone is telling you what to do with your business and your money. You have no control of it.
All right. What advice do you have for companies when it comes to managing tax for their employees?
So, even employees.
Yeah, this applies both ways.
Both ways, yeah. So by 21 days of becoming an employer, whether this employee is your cousin, your friend, your partner, we know what happened. People fight, right?
Yeah.
And then when you fight, the minute you go to CCMA, right? So your partner, now he's an ex, will take you to CCMA to say, I worked for him from 2000, and then you started, formalizing things in 2023. So now CCMA calls you and they're like, this woman started in 2000, so show us. Show us the contributions and the payments from 2000, and you don't have that. And you're like, but they're like, I took advantage of the employee. So pay the fine. So remember, labor would pay someone.
Yeah.
Especially the domestics. You take Rosina and John. This one does the garden, this one does the house. You don't register them for UIF. You don't register them for PSUN. You pay them well. You give them your kitchen units, your old beds, your clothes. You're all nice, and they love you, and they stay for 25 years. But then, when you
fire them for whatever reason,
or for whatever reason they are tired, they don't want to work anymore, they go to labor and they said, I have been working for Bazndando for the last 24 years. And you have to pay. They will calculate it for you patiently, year to year for 24 years, and they tell you pay her and the fine as well, and the penalties. Like, you can't hide
you
from
scared
the
me
system.
so much I forgot my question.
So you were asking me when it comes to payers
for managing tax with the employees, but yeah, you went deeper. My goodness.
And as an employer, you are an agent. You are like a tax collector. You need to collect money from these employees and pay it to SARS. A lot of employers will do deduction and never pay money to SARS. When you go and submit your taxes as an employee, there's no IRP on your profile. And then you go back, that employer got a tender and they are no longer operating. It was just one manna from heaven is closed, is done. So as an employee as well, make sure that you are working for a legit employer. Check that they are registered. Check that they are paying. It is within your rights to make sure that your legal rights are covered. And then as an employer, you cannot. You cannot not, because you're gonna be called to say this employee, okay, some of them even understate, so they will deduct from you like 12,000 and they will pay 6,000. So so your pay slip does not match the IRP 5. So it's good to keep your pay slips in your personal email.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to need that proof when you don't work for them anymore, and you won't have it.
So this is good for the employee.
For the employee, yes.
And, well, I suppose it's good for the employer as well, because you want the evidence later.
And for the...
when you get called to say, this is what
your
I was
5
paying.
years. Yeah. And do you know that SARS can freeze the company and look at 5 years?
All right. Now, when I look at evidence like that and employees, and because you gave the examples, I'll go there. There are employees that a lot of businesses have, but they pay them cash. You know this.
Of books. I don't like
Cash.
of books.
Cash.
But, why are you paid cash in the first place? Okay, there are people who would
don't have a bank
hire
account.
Foreign nationals, right? You know that a foreign national is supposed to be registered for tax. You take their passport, you register them, they get their individual tax number, and you put them under pay as you earn. So I don't know who told small businesses that foreign nationals don't pay tax.
Are not registerable.
It's just illusion that people, I don't know where they take it, but those people are also taxpayers. They can be individual taxpayers. And also foreign business owners. You still need to pay tax. Doesn't better if you don't belong, but you still need, you're generating income in South Africa. You need to pay tax in South Africa.
I have a friend who actually made a side hustle out of that, because he went to foreign nationals and he discovered a lot of them, business owners, were not registered, so they are not compliant. So he went scaring them with those facts. Do you know you're supposed to be paying tax? I can register a business and help you register a bank account. And he was charging, I think, 1,500 or something. And he says, for a while, I was getting like 10 per day.
Oh my God.
I had to have a couple of students
Connect
helping me with
this guy.
10 per day at 1,500.
How much will I make if it's me? Look,
You like money. I know you're doing the numbers already.
No, I live in the money space. I don't really like money. Money follows me. The foreign nationals, this kind of guys who opens the business and the accounts for them, they don't tell them. The truth is, when you are a foreign national, you need to have a permit. Either a work permit or a business permit. Because once you open a business account, once they do it for you, you get to a point where they do FICA annually or every 2 years. They freeze it and they say, come and give us your work permit. Now, a business account
hundreds
is frozen.
of thousands in there that
Yes.
you can never touch again if you were illegal.
Yes. So I like that they helping them, but they need to tell them the truth that you need a work permit. So if you open an account, you're lucky via, I don't know which way, but banks are not supposed to do that. If you do it and you succeed, you're just waiting for 1 year or 2 years, then you'll be caught.
All right. Let's get technical for about 10 minutes. How have you seen entrepreneurs that come to you that are not making break even? You can just loosely define it, but is that something that you come across?
Yeah. No costing. No costing.
They don't understand their costs, and so they see the traffic in the business. A lot of people are coming and are buying, but for some reason, month end, there's nothing in the bank, and you just don't understand what's going on.
It's costing. Whether you bake cakes, next time you want to buy a cake for your daughter's birthday, ask them, how much does it cost? I love those ones because they are a great example. They'll tell you, no, but the flour that I bought for the other cake last week. I'm like, but then what is the cost for this cake? No costing. And also the entrepreneurs...
they will, because there was flour already, it's like this one costs just
nothing.
The oil and a couple of things. The flour we remove, we already had it.
Yeah. So because you already had it, it's not... the hours.
And that is dangerous for small business.
The hours. So I'm like, on this cake, how much is the labor time, your time? They're like, no, I don't pay myself. And I'm like, okay. But she's like, no, but I didn't spend anything. I'm like, how long does it take? Like 3 hours. I'm like, so the 3 hours is free.
Every your time cake is free.
Baked is 3 hours free. You understand? So there is no costing in small businesses. You need to take time to identify what are the costs for me to deliver. Someone even said to me, but what if I get coconut from the tree for free and then I cut them and I do whatever, and I'm like, okay, where's the coconut tree? Okay, I walk 200 kilometers. There is still a cost. You walk, you buy a knife, you cut, drive. You hurt your hand, you do all sorts of things. So the costing is like, remember, in our schools, they don't teach us entrepreneurship, but they teach us sales and expenses. So people get into business to run the business. That's not the aim. The aim is to profit. So people don't know what the profit is. No books are done monthly, month in, month out. We are receiving money, we are spending it. We are receiving money, we are spending it. Where is the profit? How are we going to develop this business? Because there are no earnings. There's absolutely none. That's why our entrepreneurs can do same thing for 24 years and they can tell you, I baked these cakes for 24 years and I've sold to these schools for 24 years.
But where's the growth?
No growth. Have you looked at your books and realized you are buying an expensive flower? You are spending more than what you have to actually make something for 300 and sell it for 300, but you're spending 900 every day.
That's something important that you're bringing. A small business owner will not realize where they're losing profit margin. And part of it is just down to how they procure things. They're buying from retailers, and where they are buying, there's like 4 levels of markups to the price that they're buying at.
Yes.
And they still don't factor that in.
No.
But if I just change my supplier, I have a better price. And I think it's sad now in particular because you know what's been going on in the world where the exchange rate in the country in South Africa has been going sideways. Fuel has been going up. Electricity, at least we have it back now.
And sadly, you don't... People will tell you, oh, we've not been doing well. And then they don't know why. So we look at business in machine thinking.
What do you mean?
Systematically, you should know what does the petrol increase mean to your business directly.
Yeah.
What is the direct impact or an indirect impact on what is happening around the world? Even what is happening in UK, what is happening in Russia, what is the impact of that on your business? Because it has. You can't think of your business as an island.
And for those that struggle to even identify the effect of global events, just look at your input costs, because your suppliers are increasing prices because of those factors. But you see that your suppliers have increased their price, so it's time to adjust yours.
No, I'm like, how much is this? It's 20 rand. How long has it been 20 rand? Since we started the business in 1999. Why haven't you increased your prices after so many things happened? Even the president has changed 2 times. And they will tell you, oh, what will I say to the customers?
I will lose business.
Yes, but it's because you don't know. When the petrol price increase, you don't sell petrol, but it has got a direct impact on your business. Find what is the impact, and that is how. Do you know the taxi drivers? They don't play those ones.
Those guys are just
Petrol increase.
They are good.
You get into the taxi tomorrow, there's a 10 rand increase. They don't wait for tomorrow.
So I never thought of that. Them guys are good at adjusting prices. They are up to date.
They are aware of their business. New mall somewhere in Waterfall, they can't make it, even if the distance is the same as going to MTN, they will make it expensive because you're going to Waterfall. Right? They know their business. They have mastered their pricing and costing, but us.
All right, so I'll ask one more question.
Yeah.
A bit technical. And do you get clients that struggle with theft and they know the money is there, the business is busy, but for some reason they have a feeling it's being stolen and they can't pick it out? Advice for those clients?
I can have a fraud examiner. So you have to commit fraud to know fraud. No, but basically what it means is you need to be able to create hypotheses in your head to say what can go wrong. It's a what if. Employees steal in different ways. They can steal time.
That I never factor in.
They can steal time. They can steal resources. Your Wi-Fi.
Give examples when you say they can steal time. I don't want to take for granted everyone.
This one happens a lot in the medical field. So there's this doctor, she's on maternity leave and she's not at the branch. And I'm like, so how do you know these people are coming in? They sign a register. So who can sign? I came at 10 when they have came. They just sign 8 o'clock. So she put a camera and she has seen it. These people come to work at 9 and they canceling clients, in the name of, in the book, in the system, they put client cancelled. But who cancelled? It's them.
Because
they cancel
were
a
not
client
there.
because they are not there.
My goodness.
That is stealing time. You know what they did one
All right,
day?
I didn't think it would be that
They
dramatic.
They cancelled. It was a day before holiday.
Yeah.
And I picked this trend for her to say, every holiday, a day before holiday, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients, like from the 2, 3, 4, 5, those hours, they cancel. So are your clients like just lazy to... No, these ones, they want to knock off early because they are traveling. So that's how they steal time.
I thought you were going to go WhatsApp, Facebook.
No, I don't want to tell you those are useless things. I'm talking about the real time that causes you revenue.
All right, so they steal time, they steal resources.
They steal the stock. And they can also steal the business from you. So think about a bottle store. So if you're not there, if you have got no ways to track your inventory, they will sell and buy and resell and buy and resell, and your stock is sitting in the fridge and they are selling their stock in your business.
That I didn't think of.
It's very busy. You can see the cameras that it's very busy, but it doesn't, it's not concurrent with the revenue. Theft is, I'm very passionate about theft. Can tell you a lot about theft. Yeah.
No, I didn't think of the buying and reselling. That I haven't encountered because I was in franchising and I encountered theft. And what I saw was the particular employee would bring in stock. Let's say they bring 1,000 pies or something. When he loads the pies, he would load less into the system because what we would do, we would not receive the stock. We would just do stock counts. So when you're doing stock counts in the system, you're counting, let's say, 900 pies that are there, and you can see there's 100 that got sold in the system, and it balances and you walk away.
Yes.
But he was clever enough to know that when you just garbage in, you load the wrong numbers, the system will balance. I just need to know that the 100 that I didn't load to the system are mine. And Guy had his own shop somewhere where he was selling the stuff without cost of sales. The one thing I picked up though was in the system, the average cost kept increasing slightly. And I know math.
And that's the trend.
The average cost, because he was, unfortunately, he didn't know that you have to adjust your price as well so that it matches. So he was keeping the price and changing the number that we bought.
Input.
So now the system does say the average cost of these things is increasing. So many people will not know to check that far.
But where's the accountant? IFRS 15 or 16, right?
Yeah.
If there is a shift in revenue, there must be a shift in cost of sales. They go together. They are twins. Either it's going up or down. They must. If they
so cost of sales shouldn't be going up when revenue is going down, and
they can't be
the
indifferent.
relationship should be interrogated each time.
Yes. So the minute we're looking at this month, we're seeing that we can take it. The next month, the next month, and the next month, then this is a trend. Then we need to question it. What is it? What has changed? What has changed? What is the problem? Why are these going a different way whilst they're supposed to go? It's in finance, right? People think you just need to take income minus expenses and you create a ratio. No, you have to create trends. To analyzing the business is an art. Yeah, it's more than income.
Oh, you gave me a good one. I think I'll use that when I do workshops next time. I didn't think of the buying and reselling and replacing the stock before you come and see. Because everything will happen, everything will balance. The cash will balance. You will see your stock. You just don't know it's been recycled in your absence. My goodness.
I used to work with poultries in the village as well. You know, when I was like starting.
Yeah.
You know that every every day, those families, they were eating chicken. And they don't eat dead chicken. Okay. So what they do is they kill the chicken and they put it under mortality. Yeah.
I had that one with the pies.
And the trend, I picked it up. You have got 4 people working a day. And then there's always 4 dead chicken. There was a day where there was 3, and then it changed to 3 chickens. It's very funny. I'm telling you that analyzing a business is the art, and you really need to know what you're doing.
It's a cool one. My brother, because I was in partnership with my brother with franchising, day one, he starts off and he says, "Young man, I want to tell you something. They are stealing." And I say, "You just bought the business. How do you come to a business and just assume everyone is stealing?" But that's how his mindset was. He's the one who pushed me to keep investigating until I found this one that was stealing. And that was months later, because Mina had grace. I was giving them benefit of it out. One thing that he said, though, I think 2-3 months in, because he kept seeing damages, 4 pies, damages, 6 pies, damages. He instituted a new policy and said there is no wasting in the system. If you waste 6 pies, don't throw them away. I'm the only one who's allowed to throw them away.
So you won't
So if
find
there's 6 damages, I want to find the 6 damages. I will throw them away.
I was going to give you examples,
And
but
the damages disappeared. You can give one, it's okay.
No. This example is directly related to, where I work. So I can't tell you this, but it's very funny. Like, stealing, it's, my goodness, employees, the more they know and understand the system, the better. How do you think you come across someone who's selling braces material on the street? Where did they get that?
Where do they get it? You don't ask questions because of the
I'll
price.
ask the doctor, how many of these things takes to work on one client? And they don't know. They buy stocks. You buy the statulas, everything you're buying. You don't know how many clients does this stock serve. How?
So let's leave it as a warning to every small business owner, and everyone who's going to have a side hustle. There's a time before we got into franchising, we were thinking of getting into trucking. So passionate about it, and we could see some contracts that were flying at the time, and we thought this is a good business to get into. So I went down east where they park, and I talked to one truck owner there. This guy, he looked at me and he just laughed. "You're saying you want to do what?" I said, "No, we want to get into trucking. We'll start with 1 or 2 trucks." And he says, "Have you ever worked in the business?" I said, "No." "Do you know someone who has worked in the business? Did your father work in it or something?" I said, no. "How much research have you done about the industry and the sector and how it works?" "Very limited." And he said, "Young man, let me tell you life-changing advice. Don't do this to yourself."
Remember that business I had, right?
Yeah.
So I know what he means.
Actually, he said, "Look at those 3 trucks. There were 3 big trucks there." And he says, "Look at them." He says, "I own all 3. And I'm a truck driver. How do you think I bought them?"
Oh my God, I don't want to tell you about...
After that day, I said, no more truck business for me. Because he went to give me all the tricks that the truck driver can use to get money from you, the owner. And they were scary, man.
But also because people don't pay employees.
Well, there's that. But I think to me it was, don't get into a business which you don't understand
yourself,
and where you're not passionate enough to learn, to really go deep and learn how it works.
Do you know that in one of these big supermarkets, let me not mention the name.
Yeah.
When the poor old men established it, the policy was whether you are a store manager, your first 3 months is in the fridges. You pack chickens, you do everything. You go, the second few months, you go to baking. You go to work in all business department, so that as a manager sitting in the office,
You understand every part of it.
Yes. So what we do as business owners, we don't know what on earth is happening in our business, and we hope that all is well.
You hope they're not stealing. Thank you for enlightening us, traumatizing us, exciting us, educating us, all in one episode. I know you found this very, very valuable. So do the thing you've been doing if you haven't already. Like, share the episode. I know you will know an entrepreneur that needs to listen to parts of the advice that I hear. You know an entrepreneur that needs to clean house because they've been having these bad habits and ignoring the risk. And it's an opportunity to share it with them so they can just clean their house. In the next episode, she is back and we're going to get deep into her story, how she overcame the bits of adversity that she mentioned earlier, early pregnancy, divorce, and a whole host of other challenges, because this journey to being this amazing accountant didn't come easy. Thank you for hanging with us till this time. See you in the next episode.